So welcome you back again. Yesterday I was talking about uh, the initial periods of the in the India's external relations in the pre-independence and just after the independence. Why the a few policies being adopted in India in the post-independent that was inclined towards the socialism. That also I explained because Nehru's philosophy was entire a little bit you can say Nehru was entirely you can say a socialistic leader. So that could be also one of the basic reason, right? And the initial policies of external relations, the policy of external relations or the diplomatic relations with the world. Also, we have discussed about the DPSPs, Article number 51, what it speaks about international relations and other things, right? Even I was talking about a little bit about the Cold War politics and how India tried to make her aloof or neutral in the Cold War political system. Though more or less you can say that India played a neutral role or negative role or what else it may be because directly or indirectly we supported USSR. And the reason could be, and that was there was a controversy over that also at that time. A few political leaders and the media and all these people they criticized the government effort at that time also, and they wanted the India should take the side of USA rather USSR, right? But it was Nehru's own policy of socialism that he became the power. He supported directly or indirectly your USSR bloc, right? We talked about non-aligned movement, right? During the time of the Cold War politics, 1945 till 1990, you can say that that was the time only two power blocks were there. That is the socialistic bloc and the capitalistic bloc. It's not like that, right? The power during that time in the politics, socialism or the capitalism, the two power blocks were there. One headed by US, the second one headed by USSR, and third power block can be non-aligned movement. So that was also a power block. Rather, you can say that was also a power block that also played very significant role in the world political system, right? So Nehru played very important role, being the first prime minister, and already I told you that he was not the only the prime minister of the country. At the same time, he has the portfolio of foreign ministry also. He was also the foreign minister, right? So he played very pivotal role in right from 1946 to 1964, approximately 20 years, and he has three major objectives already we explained yesterday. Sovereignty, so you can say hard on, they wanted to preserve the hard on sovereignty, protect territorial integrity, and promote rapid economic development. But our rapid economic development not on the basis of the capitalism, but on the basis of the welfare state or on the basis of the socialism. That exactly what we are talking about. Right. Then coming to the next, already we discussed in the previous chapters also about the two camps, the two power block politics. During this particular period of time of 1945, in the post Cold War till 1990, till the disintegration of the Soviet Union, that was the time of the Cold War, and everything been discussed in the first chapter itself. So nothing to discuss more. But you knew it very well that that was the time of power block politics. One was being headed by democracy with capitalism, and the second one was headed by communism with socialistic pattern of economy. It means both the things. It was not only in terms of the political principles or economic ideology. Based on economic ideology, the power block politics or the Cold War was not only on the basis of either political principles or economic ideology. It was being guided by both the things, the political principles also and economic ideology also. The political principle of capitalist country was more or less democratic in nature, right? Like if you can take the example of the capitalist economy, that's USA, and almost all the supporters of US, they are more or less they are the democratic country. It means they promote the democratic values along with capitalism as economic ideology. On the other hand, USSR, she promote socialism or communism, right? And socialist with the socialistic pattern of economy. So, or the central planned economy, you can say. So that these two power blocks not only being guided in terms of only economic principles or the economic ideology, but also being guided from both the side, economic principles, and as this at the same time, you can say democratic or non-democratic principles. In order to spread their power, or you can say in order to spread their influence both the power group, or you can say the power block, during that particular period of time, they are having so many organizations being formed. Those organizations are the military blocks or the military organization, like NATO. Already I explained about NATO. Anyone can tell me when it was being formed? Ayush?
Sir, what you asked?
NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organizations.
Yes.
कब बना था और किसका था?
Actually, sir, it was headed by USA. Sir, it was giving a formalization to the Western Alliance. Sir, it was made in 1949.
1948-49, it being started. What are the primary objective of formation of NATO?
Sir, NATO was made to make a group of countries with the USA as the head, so that it can have power and supremacy over the Asian and the African region, as well as the European countries could not go away with it.
Right. Who can tell me what is the counterpart of NATO, which was being formed by USSR?
Sir, Warsaw
Pact.
Just a minute. Someone can give the answer. Who is that?
Warsaw Pact, sir.
Who is that? Who is speaking?
Richard Singh.
Warsaw Pact. When was it
Sir,
formed?
Warsaw Pact.
Warsaw Pact. When was it
Sir,
formed?
1955.
1955 by whom?
1955.
By whom?
Sir, by USSR and its elite countries.
Right. So NATO, and after that so many organizations being formed. बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस फॉर्मेशन होना शुरू हो जाता है, बट प्राइमरीली यू कैन से नाटो अभी भी है कि नाटो का एग्जिस्टेंस खत्म हो गया?
It's there.
Yes, sir.
आज भी है. NATO countries still they are having, right? Warsaw Pact?
No, sir.
It's not there.
Warsaw Pact is there, but they don't have any.
Yes.
Yeah, formally you can say they are still existence तो उनका है अभी भी, but फिर वो उसका कोई significance रह नहीं गया. Because they don't play major role at all nowadays, you can say. But NATO still play major role. आज भी NATO countries सुने होंगे कि अगर इंडिया और चाइना के बीच में लड़ाई होगा तो शायद NATO का हमें सपोर्ट मिलेगा. इट मींस आज भी उनका जो मिलिट्री प्रैक्टिसेस हैं या जो भी सब कुछ करते हैं, या उनका जो अपना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, नाटो का अपना आज भी फोर्स है, आर्म फोर्सेस नाटो का आज भी है. दैट्स अ कंबाइंड आर्म फोर्सेस, स्टिल दे आर हैविंग, राइट? एनीवे, so during the course of the time of the Cold War politics you can say, from the side of the US and from the side of the USSR, बहुत invasion हुआ है. कहीं ना कहीं इस कंट्री में प्रॉब्लम, उस कंट्री में प्रॉब्लम, बट मोर और लेस इंडिया ऑलवेज स्टे न्यूट्रल और न्यूट्रल रोल, और यू कैन से एलो उनसे वो दूर रहने की ऑलवेज कोशिश किया. इट वाज बीइंग क्रिटिसाइज्ड several occasions by US also, right? And the basic objective was very simple, you can say, because the arch enemy of India, that's Pakistan, joined US military alliances. Now you could have seen that USA is very closer to you after you can say Osama bin Laden or Osama incident के बाद. Otherwise, US was very close to Pakistan for a few couple of decades, right? So that could be the reason, in order to make a power balance in our subcontinent, we have to go with USSR, right? And USSR said to be one of the very strong partner of India. Even आज के situation में भी हमारा trade and बाकी सब चीजें USSR से बहुत कम हो गया है. In spite of that, you could have seen that you are having very strong bonding with USSR. And आज भी अभी recently अगर देखेंगे तो 1-2 साल में डिफेंस बजट या डिफेंस इंपोर्ट यूएसए से ज्यादा है. अदरवाइज मोस्टली द डिफेंस इंपोर्ट और डिफेंस का जो भी इक्विपमेंट्स हम यूएसएसआर से ही मोस्टली खरीदते थे. एंड इन ईच एंड एवरी रेस्पेक्ट यूएसएसआर ऑलवेज एक्सटेंडेड हर सपोर्ट, अनकंडीशनल सपोर्ट टू इंडिया, राइट? बट दिस इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर. after 20 in the 21st century, you can say our relationship with USA is much stronger as compared to USSR, but our partnership with Soviet Union also almost in a similar version. You have studied in the last chapter the strategy of the planned economic development adopted by India, and this policy emphasized import substitutions. So today, our Honorable Prime Minister is speaking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. If you can economic terminology में उसको ले तो क्या है? Import substitutions. जो हम import करते थे बाहर से, वो import नहीं करके उसका substitution क्या है? हम अपना देश में उसको बनवाएं. That's exactly the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, this particular slogan or this concept is not a newer concept for your country. 20 साल 30 साल 40 साल से ये चलते आ रहा है, because we have started this import substitutions long days back, and in most of the aspects now we are self dependent. Initially you knew it very well, might be if you can watch news you can get this news, that initially all those whatever the defense equipments used to buy from other country, चाहे रशिया से हो, फ्रांस से हो, यूएस से हो, डायरेक्ट हम उसको बना बनाया फिनिश प्रोडक्ट खरीद के ले आते थे. आज भी आता है, but still 50% of this product are now started making in India with the help of that particular country. Suppose if you are buying some rifle from US, तो करते क्या है, सपोज 10,000 राइफल खरीदना है तो चलो 2,000 वहां से डायरेक्ट खरीद के ले आया, बाकी उनके कोलैबोरेशन से यहाँ पे फैक्ट्री खोला जाएगा एंड बाकी 8,000 यहाँ बनेगा, और हमें तो 8,000 मिलेगा ही. एट द सेम टाइम यू कैन एक्सपोर्ट इन लेटर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. So this is also one of the part of the import substitution. इसमें फायदा क्या होगा कि FDI आपका बाहर से आ रहा है, बाहर से टेक्नोलॉजी आ रहा है, जॉब हमें मिल रहा है, जॉब क्रिएशन हमारे देश में हो रहा है, और that particular product will be an indigenous product, and that product is not going to only help you can see your country, at the same time that particular product can be sold across the world. Coming to the next one is the Afro-Asian unity. Almost all the African nations were under the colonial dominations. More or less, you can say almost all Afro-Asian countries are colonial dominations. Even 1947 में जब इंडिया को भी इंडिपेंडेंस मिला था, बहुत सारे country colonial dominations पे थे, right? That's why now they wanted to go for the liberations movement. Even already United Nations organization has asked all those imperialist country to free all those colonial country. सबको छोड़ दी जाए, right? Decolonizations करने के लिए बोला गया. So still a large numbers of the country, African country, the Asian country, they are under the colonial domination. So that non-aligned movement played very important role in this respect. 1968, 69, that's the year otherwise known for the year of Africa. Please research why. Because it's around 17 or 18 countries, they got independence from the colonial domination in a very similar year. हमें मिल गया था 1947 में, and I'm talking about 1968, 67, 68 or 69, approximately that particular period of time. है ना, लगभग 20 साल के बाद उनको इंडिपेंडेंस मिलता है. Who can tell me which was the last country to get independence from the colonial domination?
South Africa.
South Africa.
Sir, Sudan.
Please research.
South Sudan. South Sudan.
Haji?
South Sudan. South Sudan.
Anyway, please research. It's a matter to research, because South Africa cannot be. South Africa, the rule of South Africa was different. The first apartheid government was being formed, 1994.
Can I answer? Sir, is it Namibia?
Namibia.
Namibia, yes, sir.
Research. That's the right answer. Still, right. So it means you got independence in 1947, and the last country to get independence in 1994, 93, 94. So it took a long period of time. It means जो non-aligned movement का जो movement start हुआ Afro-Asian unity का, so that could have lasted for a long period of time. तो उनका basic objective ऐसा नहीं था कि Cold War politics में बीच में हम sandwich बन के रहे. That was not the basic objective. The basic objective was to get rid of all these colonial dominations from the Afro-Asian country, right? And Nehru played very important. Who can tell me who are the founding leaders of non-aligned movement?
Sir, there were three founding leaders of non-aligned.
Louder. Ayush, little bit louder.
Sir, there were three founding leaders of NAM: Jawaharlal Nehru from India, Tito
Yes,
from
Pandit
Egypt,
Jawaharlal Nehru from India. Then
Sir, Franz Tito from Egypt, and Gamal Abdel Nasir from Indonesia.
Nasir from Egypt.
Acha, sir. Oh, yeah.
Right. Then President Tito from
Egypt.
Yugoslavia.
Okay, sir. I forgot.
Right. So you need to know what those the chief architect of non-aligned movement. Right. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru from India, President Tito from Yugoslavia, Nasir from Egypt, and who left? Sonu, do you know?
Sir, Sukarno from Indonesia.
Dr. Sukarno from Indonesia. So these are the four chief architects of non-aligned movement. Dr. Sukarno from Indonesia, Nasir from Egypt, Tito from Yugoslavia, and Nehruji from India. Right? So under this, you can say non-aligned movement, large numbers of countries, they got independence, and these organizations supported in every front, right from the freedom struggle till the formation of the government. So कब पहला the first summit of non-aligned movement कहाँ हुआ था?
Sir, Belgrade in
Bandung.
1961.
Yeah, Bandung में कब?
Sir, Belgrade 1961 April.
55.
So
सर वो तो
1961.
बैंडंग कॉन्फ्रेंस 1955 में हुआ था और फर्स्ट समिट बेलग्रेड में हुआ था 1961 में.
कब? कौन महीने में?
1961
Which
April.
month?
1961.
1961. Which month?
Sir, Belgrade first summit of the non-aligned movement.
Which month? September.
Oh.
In Belgrade, 1961 Belgrade, that was the first ever summit, right? Belgrade किसमें है?
किया.
जी?
Sir, Yugoslavia.
अच्छा.
Sir, it's in sir.
और बैंडोंग कहाँ है?
Sir, Bandung is in Indonesia and
Indonesia.
Indonesia, sir.
sir, it
बैंडोंग
is,
इंडोनेशिया.
and sir, Belgrade is in Serbia.
हाँ तो अब ना सर्बिया है. उस टाइम यूगोस्लाविया था ना.
Yes, sir. Complete.
और यूगोस्लाविया टूट के ना ढेर सारे 7 कंट्री बन गया. So at that time it was Yugoslavia, right? So this is what you can see the non-aligned movement played very significant role across the time. So in India's foreign relations, अगर India's foreign relations के हम देखेंगे तो बहुत सारे aspects हैं. एक very importantly, right from the very beginning, India was the founding member of United Nations Organization, and this is very surprising. See, 1945 में India was not at all independent. In spite of that, it was one of the founding members. That played very significant role. So if you can go back to your history, then you could find out that how powerful or important the country was in terms of Africa and Asia. जबकि हम independent भी नहीं थे, in spite of that, we become the member of United Nations Organization. And being the member of the United Nations Organization, जाहिर सी बात है कि you have to play a very important role in world political system. And we played. And today also we are playing. Even if our economic conditions हमें support नहीं करता है, बहुत कुछ problem रहता है, in spite of that, we extend our support to other country in every respect. चाहे वो medicine हो, चाहे खाना पीना हो, चाहे अनाज हो, what else it may be. That we played very significant role. Always our policy in terms of the defense is always defensive, not offensive. हमें कोई अटैक करेगा तो हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे, लेकिन हम किसी को अटैक नहीं करेंगे. कोई अगर हमें सपोर्ट मांगेगा तो हम जाएंगे, राइट? कोई सपोर्ट मांगेगा, जैसे क्या है बांग्लादेश हमें सपोर्ट मांगा, हमने क्या, हमें उनको हेल्प किया, एंड इट वाज बीन क्रिएटेड. आज अगर बलूचिस्तान सपोर्ट मांगेगा तो वहां भी चले जाएंगे, बिकॉज दैट्स वाज एग्जैक्टली द फॉरेन पॉलिसी राइट फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग. Apart from that, the second major step in terms of the foreign relations or foreign policy, that's non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement given a better platform to India, क्योंकि वो जितना भी non-aligned country थे, कोई developed nation नहीं थे. Either they are third world country or developing country थे. And it's a major loop. अगर 190 country total हैं, तो 105 country थे, 110 country non-aligned country थे. There was a time 110 countries were there in the non-aligned group. तो 110 country का मुखिया होना, because India has played a very significant role in terms of the non-aligned movement. So overall जो हमारा external relationship में ये बहुत important role play करता है, because 110 country के साथ हम बहुत better relationship में रहते हैं, right? United Nations Organization में right from the beginning हम member होते हैं उसका. During the Cold War politics में बहुत carefully डिवाइस किया गया था अपना रोल को, हम कहीं पे भी डायरेक्ट इंटरफेरेंस नहीं किए, लेकिन हम पूरा प्योर न्यूट्रल नहीं रहे. हमें जहां जो बोलना था, जो करना था, हम करते रहे. सो दीज आर ऑल द थिंग्स यू कैन से इन टर्म्स ऑफ द इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स में देखेंगे और एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स में देखेंगे तो यू आर वेरी स्ट्रांग, राइट? एंड द रोल इज प्रेजवर्दी. इट्स नॉट दैट टुडे इंडिया इज बीइंग रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बाय द वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम. Right from the very beginning, because our policy was such that you always being recognized as international leader, international guru, world guru के हिसाब से हम always recognized रहे हैं, right? आज तो हम बहुत powerful हैं in terms of ये huge population है, हमारे पास huge infrastructure है, young country है, developing nation है, scientific temper, scientific development बहुत तेजी से है, then a very strong political system है हमारे पास, आज तो बहुत strong है हम, right? Tomorrow I'm going to discuss the last topic, that is Indo-China, the relationship in terms of the Indo-China and Bangladesh-Pakistan का war. This is the two important that features, because हम आज तक अगर हम कहीं पे in terms of peace छोड़ के अगर कहीं कोई लड़ाई हुआ तो पाकिस्तान के साथ हुआ है 2-3 बार and चाइना के साथ हुआ है. So that's also the part and parcel of, you can say, our external relations. So tomorrow we are going to discuss the peace and conflict with China. 1962 से हम स्टार्ट करेंगे, 1962 का 1954 से स्टार्ट करेंगे, पंचशील एग्रीमेंट से हम स्टार्ट करेंगे till date, what exactly the scenario is, and with Pakistan we will start from 1947-48 से कारगिल war तक. The chapter will be over. Please ask your friend to check the app. App will be the only medium through which it will be given. किसी को कोई दिक्कत है तो उसमें नंबर दिया हुआ है गौरव सर का, गौरव सर को कांटेक्ट करें. ऐप में ऑलरेडी मैं क्वेश्चन आंसर भेज चुका हूं, प्लीज चेक. पीडीएफ भी है, वर्ड फाइल में भी भेजा गया है. इवन आगे जो आपका टेस्ट भी होंगे, ऑल दोस टेस्ट विल बी डन थ्रू द ऐप ओनली.